A very warm welcome to you indeed to the great sporting city of Birmingham, here in the United Kingdom, hosting the FIG Artistic Gymnastics All-Around World Cup. The Resorts World Arena, part of the National Exhibition Centre complex, is absolutely packed, but you don't really need me to tell you that, do you? I think it's more than apparent. What a fantastic crowd we have gathered here. They certainly enjoyed the men's competition that took place earlier in the day. Nikita Nigorny of the Russian Federation, the gold medalist. Sun Wei of the People's Republic of China took the silver, and Japan's Kazuma Kaya won the bronze medal. And now it is the turn of the women's all-around competition. Over the next couple of hours, you're going to see the women contest the traditional four pieces of apparatus: the vault, the uneven bars, the balance beam, and the floor. At the end of it all, we will know which of these 9 gymnasts is the all-around champion here at the World Cup in Birmingham. And it certainly is a pretty impressive field indeed. The home crowd were absolutely euphoric when watching the great young British gymnast Joe Fraser finish in 4th position. He so nearly managed to displace a very impressive field to get a medal. They obviously will have high hopes for Ellie Downey in this competition. But they've come from across the world to watch gymnastics here, and it doesn't really matter who you're supporting, it matters that you enjoy this wonderful sport. And the same applies to you. A huge welcome wherever in the world you're watching the action from. It's lovely to have your company. Ollie Hogben here, bringing you the action from the Resorts World Arena at the National Exhibition Centre. And it is an arena that has a wonderful history in the sport of artistic gymnastics. The World Championships were held here in 1993. Some of you may well have been there. You may remember that event. You may have watched it, as indeed did I. And the all-around champion in that particular event was the fantastic American gymnast Shannon Miller, one of the great names of years gone by. But let's have a look at some of the great names of this year. And this, the start list, with competitors from the 8 top performing nations. Excuse my mathematics, the 9 top performing nations were sent an invitation at the 2018 World Championships in the team event. And we have competitors such as Thais Fidelis from Brazil, who is part of a nation that is suddenly becoming a great force in women's artistic gymnastics. Also have Riley McCusker of the United States of America, always, of course, one of the great nations in the sport of artistic gymnastics. Liu Jieyu from the People's Republic of China. Ellie Downey from Great Britain, of course. Oh, and by the way, Alia Mustafina as well. And any of you who is a great fan of this wonderful, wonderful sport, you will know the tremendous reputation of Alia Mustafina, one of the most decorated gymnasts of all time. Speaking of which, 4 medals that she won at London 2012, the most decorated gymnast there. Many of them have come there just to see Mustafina competing, and how wonderful it is that she is back in competitive action. So the warm-up is coming to a close here in the Resorts World Arena, and we are about to get competition underway in this women's all-around event. So unlike the men's competition, for those of you who watched it, we don't have a split format in the rotation. We'll see every competitor on vault, every competitor on bars, every competitor on beam, and every competitor on the floor. So it's time to sit back and enjoy some vaulting, and we will begin with Riley McCusker, the 17-year-old from New Milford in Connecticut, but who has spent a lot of time training in New Jersey, competing for the USA here. That's always the difficulty and the danger, isn't it? First gymnast out to compete. Going into it relatively cold.
Take another lob there, the round up onto the board, back flip, pushes up, 2 twists in a straight somersault.
And the hand coming down will be a deeply costly thing, but it's early days.
Mark out 10 for execution and 5.4 added to it. Just slightly under-rotating there, Becky.
Still plenty of competition still to take place.
Slight lack of rotation, which just meant it came in a little bit short. The rest of the vault, besides that, was actually
There was
pretty
lovely
clean.
form in the apex of the vault there, the feet nicely together, toes well pointed. It was just the landing, just that small matter of the landing that wasn't quite right. But just a 17-year-old gymnast with a great deal of competing still to do. But even at 17, experienced enough to just go, okay, that's what happened, and we'll go on to the next one.
So we just wait for the score to come through for our first competitor before we introduce our next
Just
gymnast.
the one vault.
The judges hard at work.
And that, perhaps for some of you, if you've been watching the individual apparatus World Cups,
Execution.
and if you haven't, there's really no excuse for that. It's disgraceful. But if you have, you will have noticed that
To become an
they take 2 vaults in the apparatus finals. Not the case in the all-around competition, nor indeed in team competitions. So the weight here for Riley McCusker.
We can now relax and focus on our next apparatus, which will be the uneven bars.
Meanwhile, the Japanese gymnast Nagi Kajita is getting ready to compete. So what will the score be for the American Riley McCusker? It's a 13.133. So we have our first score on the board here in the Resorts World Arena.
Our next competitor on vault, representing Japan, Nagi Kajita.
Nagi Kajita, the 18-year-old from Yamanashi Prefecture in the center of Honshu. Stabilised that well. Could have been a difficult landing, and she handled that very nicely indeed.
18 years of age, made her major championship debut last
Second
year,
competition that
representing
she's
Japan at the
been
2018
involved
World
in
Championships.
2019. She took the all-around silver
Twisting Yurchenko.
at the WOGA Classic in Texas in February.
4.6 difficulty
And she was
score.
part of that Japanese team that finished 6th at the World Championships.
Just a hop on landing.
Didn't compete in
more securely landed,
the
but
final
a slightly
itself.
easier vault, Becky.
Yeah, she just opted for the full twist in Yurchenko there. As you said, slightly short on the landing, but otherwise pretty clean in the air. I'm sure she'll be happy with that as a starting rotation.
Always good to get one apparatus safely under your belt. She held 13.6
Nagi Kajita
at the
making
World
her way
Championships.
over to join Riley McCusker. And for those of you who've been watching the individual apparatus World Cups, the
Building up to
big difference is that this is not technically a qualification event for the Olympic Games, unlike the apparatus World Cups. As we look at the score for Kajita of 13.033, as I was saying, not a qualification event for the Olympic Games. But they could well come into play next year, those particular
Our next competitor, representing France,
all-around World Cups.
Caroline Hedoui.
So Nagi Kajita, although her execution was significantly stronger than Riley McCusker, the difficulty quite a bit down, a 4.6 difficulty score for Kajita. Caroline Hedoui of France. Vaults well. Again, having to stabilise her landing a little bit. The gymnast who's just 15. It is absolutely wonderful to see her starting to make her move through into senior competition. Has lovely form going into that vault.
in Glasgow last summer at the Junior European Championships, where she won a bronze medal on the uneven bars. So certainly one to watch.
So same vault attempted there as Nagi Kajita will carry a
Yeah, really nice
4.6 difficulty score.
Kind of looked like the floor maybe just hit her a little bit there instead of her just absorbing that landing. But other than that,
Just had a little bit of a bumpy landing.
So yes, a 4.6 difficulty score. So she did it absolutely perfectly.
But that approach of the vault, I think, was very, very nicely executed indeed.
Start with a double twist, which had that 5.4.
So Be interesting to compare this to the score for Kajita, who was 13.033. 13.366. Stronger execution there. And what that means is the young competitor from Angers is leading the way after 3 have gone.
Our next competitor, representing the People's Republic of China, Liu Jiayu.
Liu Jiayu from the People's Republic of China, another teenager, 16. She competed recently in the Baku World Cup, the Apparatus World Cup. Very good vaulter. Case in point. Does move out a little bit there. Just be interesting to have a look at the landing area in the replay. She starts to veer away. Well, moves into the red area. There's a very famous band called UB40 from the Birmingham area. They wrote a very good song about vaulting. It's called Red Red Line. And the thing is, you must be careful not to hop into it. But at least she stays in, so it's not too big a series of penalties. I think she's just about in there as she lands it.
So here, determined in the approach on the round up onto the board, backflip straight in the somersault, wraps into the twist. Just an adjustment. Take her.
Competed at the Birmingham World Cup last year. Liu Jiayu came in 7th position. It's a great crowd here in the Resorts World Arena because they are a studious crowd. They know exactly when to be noisy, they know exactly when to be quiet.
And the score is
They're hugely respectful of the competitors. So 13.033 for Liu Jiayu. And what that means is at the moment it is Edui, McCusker and Liu.
Our next competitor, representing Russian Federation, Alia Mustafina.
To Alia Mustafina. She has enjoyed such great success in this country, not just at the Olympic Games, but at the European Championships in 2010 in Birmingham. Took a bronze in the Russian Nationals in the all-around early this month. She's back. Oh, she's back. Excellent vaults from Alia Mustafina. And the thing is, she's just such an experienced all-around competitor. So she knows how to see out a competition like this. She has that degree of stamina that you've got to have.
Fantastic performance there. Becky, strong start for her.
The much-loved double-twisting Yurchenko vault.
Really nice double-twisting Yurchenko.
Popular vault.
Good height, good flight. Completely central down the
And for those of you getting accustomed, look at the height there that Mustafina hits on that vault. But as I was saying, those of you getting accustomed to the way that vaulting works, the gymnasts, if they're competing in an individual final and have a couple of vaults, then they need to pick 2 different styles of vault. Obviously not an option or necessary in an all-around final like this. 14.366. Now that is a big score indeed. It means that Alia Mustafina is far and away leading this competition at the moment.
Yeah, as you said earlier, it's kind of that risk and reward, and by going for the double twist, she went for the higher difficulty and definitely.
So that is how things stand.
Her experience of high-level competition.
Alia Mustafina a whole mark ahead of Caroline Edui. And very good vault from the young French competitor to place her in 2nd position. That's excellent work.
So it's all, as you gain experience, it can only help you going forwards.
And of course, a strong apparatus for her next, the uneven bars. So she's renowned, twice Olympic champion on that apparatus.
So we're now going to see the second half of the competitors. I believe a split warm-up format is being used.
So we've got Leah Grieser, Victoria Wu, Ellie Downey,
So we will see
and Thais Fidelis.
the gymnasts from Germany, Canada, Great Britain and Brazil, respectively.
First or second in a split warm-up when you've seen what people have already done, do you think?
So yes, we're using the split warm-up format because there are more than 8 competitors, so what that entails is we'll pause after the halfway mark of the rotation, and then the next lot of gymnasts will have their touch warm-up, their contact time with the apparatus.
Did you not mind? Did you just blank out everything while you were waiting?
I think vault's one of those pieces where it's quite nice to go first, because as soon as you've done your warm-ups, you're like pretty fresh and just ready to go. So for vault especially, it's a piece that's really nice to go first.
Well, they won't have long to wait. They've just got a few more seconds or so of warm-up time, and we'll be getting the second half of vault underway. So
We're just waiting now for the warm-ups to begin. And here they are.
Great time here in Birmingham.
So just a brief touch warm-up for all of these gymnasts. And perhaps here's some fans suddenly, I think they might have spotted the camera there, getting used to the great sport of gymnastics ahead of the Commonwealth Games in 2022, taking place in this city, the 22nd Commonwealth Games. As we look at the warm-up here of Ellie Downey of Great Britain. Doubtless the NEC and the whole complex, there are many, many different venues, such as the National Indoor Arena. I think its name has changed now to something different, but many arenas here within the NEC complex, and they will doubtless be very central to the Commonwealth Games operation in 2022. And there is much to enjoy about the city culturally. It's got a vibrant feel to it. Some people would whisper that technically this is in Solihull, the Resorts World Arena, just outside of Birmingham. And it was opened in the 1970s, the NEC, and then this particular arena in 1980. Had a massive refurbishment in 2009. And so to the second half of this first rotation, and Leah Grieser of Germany, 20-year-old, also part of her country's team at the World Championships most recently. Very stable, very secure. That will do nicely for Leah Grieser, because she will be most looking forward to, one suspects, the floor, where she is the reigning German champion. So this is very secure. Lovely form in the pike position, kept those toes extended and pointed. Doesn't have the sort of difficulty that some of the vaults have had, or indeed will have, but what it had was very stable execution. Just the tiniest necessity of stabilisation in the landing, but she really did work into that landing very well indeed. No surprise that she broke into a huge grin. Just see that the push away off the table was not maybe quite the sweet spot she was looking for. But much that worked very well indeed for a reasonably pleased Leah Grieser. It's an interesting thing, the business of competing on the vault, first of all. 13.133 for Leah Grieser, because of course you get so little time to actually get into the routine. It's not as though it's a floor routine and you've got time to settle into it. It's one attack of the apparatus, one landing, and that's it.
And our next competitor on vault, representing Canada, Victoria Wu.
Victoria Wu from Canada, 21-year-old from La Salle in Quebec. Another gymnast who will be looking forward to competing on floor later on. Good powerful attack and a very nice bit of vaulting indeed from Victoria Wu. Well, she's had some real success for Canada in multi-sport games, including the Pan American Games in Toronto back in 2015. That was a very elegantly executed vault.
Yeah,
But again, good form in the twist. And a lovely centrally kept line as well. So that old adage of not giving the judges a great deal to deduct, her landing position not too jackknifed. You'll hear sometimes the reference to a pike landing, that idea for those of you new to gymnastics of being bent over in the centre, something you want to avoid. Didn't take the judges long to assess that one, 13.666 for Victoria Wu. So what that means is Victoria Wu is into second position. Alia Mustafina is still leading the way. Caroline Adui is now in third position. Now, will this change here?
Our next competitor on vault, representing Great Britain, Ellie Downey.
Ellie Downey, a very fine vaulter indeed. And she comes into this having just won the vault competition, along with a couple of other gold medals at the British Championships earlier this month. She lands that with a bit of a hop back, but it's very securely executed. And key thing there for Ellie Downey is that will have a higher difficulty than some of the vaults that we've seen so far, so the hop back will be perhaps offset by that increased difficulty score. Starting value. Travels really well, gets a lot of distance away from the table.
Controlling the power for her is probably slightly more.
Yes, it is a well stabilised landing, a powerful attack. And actually quick thinking, quick muscle memory just to stabilise that landing as well. And a little hop back. Wonderful to see Ellie Downey back competing and hopefully well in good health. She's had to go through some horrible injuries, a couple of surgeries in quick succession on her feet, on her ankle. 14.3 is Ellie Downey's score. So it is Mustafina, followed by Downey, followed by Wu.
And our next competitor on vault, representing Brazil, Thais Fidelis.
So the last competitor to go in the first rotation. Thais Fidelis from Brazil, a 17-year-old from Ribeirão Preto in São Paulo. It is just such a joy to see the way the artistic gymnastics scene is developing in Brazil. And she knows all about that, Thais Fidelis, because she was so hugely inspired by one of those great names in the earlier days of artistic gymnastics, Diane dos Santos. Many of you will remember, world champion on the floor. And she actually won a World Cup gold in Birmingham in 2004 on the floor. And Thais Fidelis, who is Thais Fidelis dos Santos, but no relation to Diane, watched her compete and just thought, I want to be like that. And now she's already at such a young age part of that generation that so many young gymnasts in Brazil are being inspired by. It's a great story. Will it be a great score?
Ela vai precisar de ajuda?
She has already taken 5 World Cup medals. Nothing for a couple of years. 13.566 for Thais Fidelis. Certainly keeps her in contention. And the necessity of running repairs. It's all part of the process. There we go. Yes, the all-around competitions that require immense stamina and tremendous physical fitness, and all of these gymnasts have it in abundance. That is how things are after the first rotation. The veteran gymnast Mustafina leads the way. Downey second place, Wu third place. But there is a very competitive chasing pack, not much between Wu and Fidelis, not much between Fidelis and Edui. A little bit of ground for the other gymnasts to catch up on, but we've had some people who will be hoping to have scored very well on vault and who have done so. Others who will be happy to have scored securely on vault will be looking to other things, such as the uneven bars, which are about to happen. So, as before, we will have a split warm-up process for the uneven bars.
Second apparatus, the uneven bars. Exciting apparatus for the women. There on the big screen, the rankings.
So the leader of the competition, Mustafina, will go fourth, and then in the second half of the rotation we'll see Ellie Downey, who's currently in the silver medal position. Those of you who are watching the uneven bars for the first time, this is the one where you'll hear lots of particular skill moves mentioned.
Yes, twice Olympic champion.
Many of them
this apparatus. It'll be really exciting to watch
the skills associated with great gymnasts from the past. You'll hear references to things like Kachev's, named after the great Alexander Kachev, Soviet gymnast. You might hear terms such as the Pak Salto, named after Pak Gyongsi,
Most physically demanding pieces of apparatus, and also,
and of course terms like the Ginga, Eberhard Ginga,
kind of awareness.
many others, Jaegers, Shaposhnikovas, and so on. And don't worry if it all sounds like an entirely foreign language to you, that's because it probably is. And we will do our best to try to provide some clarity on some of those terms as we go through. But one of the key things to know is that if you create something brand new in gymnastics, if you're an innovator, then it gets named after you. It can be added to the code of points. The document produced at great length, both metaphorically and literally, by the Fédération Internationale de Gymnastique every Olympic cycle, and they add new things to the code of points all the time. And that really brings us to how it is that this sport is scored. Again, apologies to those of you who know all this like the back of your hand, but it can be a slightly complex thing. And the gymnasts are given a difficulty score which starts from 0 and works upwards based on what they put into their routine, all those different elements, and then they're given an execution score that starts at 10 and is calculated by deductions based on errors of execution or imperfections of execution. And what all of that means is if a gymnast here is hitting scores in the 14s, then we can be having conversations about where they might be on the podium. And should a gymnast suffer the misfortune of an unintentional dismount at any point in this particular event, especially because it's most common to happen in the uneven bars, then what will happen is they'll lose a full mark. Of course, any incorrect landing, for example, on the beam, if they come off there, or if they put a hand down when landing a vault, that also carries with it that sort of deduction. There, Riley McCusker, who got the whole competition up and running. Well, this is a piece of apparatus that she is extremely well known for. Could it be that Alia Mustafina takes 3 consecutive Olympic titles on the uneven bars? Wouldn't that be something else?
Brilliant stuff, guys. Now, of course, if you want to see yourselves up on the big screen, the hashtag for the entire event is hashtag.
And what the very best competitors, of course, are so good at doing on the uneven bars is blending things, linking things,
who your favorite gymnast is, who you support in all that,
putting together suitable connections.
That's hashtag Gymnastics World Cup 19.
We are about at starting time here in the women's uneven bars portion of this all-around World Cup in Birmingham, United Kingdom, second largest city in the UK. And we'll start with Leah Grisa. My apologies, I think actually Greaser is just the final gymnast to complete her warm-up. I thought she was about to go and perform. Those of you watching thinking that was a touch on the casual side. Oh dear. Well, better then than during the competition. You'll often see the gymnasts not put a full dismount into things like the uneven bars. They'll just do some form of partial dismount just to reduce the strain on the joints. Well, we now are about to begin this portion of the competition. So final preparations of the apparatus for Nagi Kajita. And if you're just joining the action here in the Resorts World Arena at the National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, welcome. Lovely to have your companionship for this competition.
Japan,
You've just missed the vault competition, but we won't hold that against you. What you need to know is Alia Mustafina is leading the way, Ellie Downey second place, Victoria Wu in third place, and now we go on to the uneven bars, the second of 4 rotations. Nagi Kajita of Japan. And she comes into this in 9th position with a 13.033 was her vault score. Starts off with the pike Kachev. Looking for the pack salto. Legs maybe just slightly became splayed there as she attacked that. Uses the Van Leuven transition. Had to work hard to bring that back under control. And hit her Jaeger. Oh, now she's come off. What a shame. Well, it can often be the way that the gymnast, after having secured a big release and catch, then has problems in the moments right after it. There are a lot of coaches who have a lot of fascinating things to say about the sports psychology of that. But there was some very secure work up until that point from Kajita. So she will pay the penalty, unfortunately, of a full mark. Confident Stolder position work. Winding up for the dismount. Gets good height in that dismount and just about holds that landing. It's a shame for Nagi Kajita because aside from that one error, it was a very fine routine.
Timing is just enhanced on the wrong side, Becky.
She took a bronze in the uneven bars at the All Japan Event Championships last year.
It kind of just looked like she lost a little bit of rhythm, as you said, in the middle, and then slightly low again on the dismount.
Full twisting, double back
Well,
to
they do have
routine.
the
So
Japanese
when they come off,
gymnastics
and then
authorities, some superb competitors in both men's and women's gymnastics.
You're aiming to not take
So just to be competing internationally for Japan in any competition at all is a remarkable honour and evidence of just how great a competitor you are. It was her best event at the World Championships, but she is also a strong floor competitor. So we shall see what more happens.
important, as well as the transitions from the
That's where it all went
low bar and back again.
astray even. Orion astray I combined there for Nagi Kajita.
in an even bar routine, you're looking to have a releasing catch, as you say.
It's very interesting because we have down on the field of play, alongside Dr. Lisa Gannon, the excellent sports scientist and gymnastics coach, Becky Downey is providing some live arena analysis for the crowd here. I don't know how she's managing to hold her nerve, frankly, with her younger sister competing.
And our next competitor on the uneven bars, representing France, Caroline Hedouy.
Now to Caroline Hedouy. So that little required number that you'll see in the top right, just by the flag, giving you an idea of what the gymnast needs to move into a leading position. Pirouettes nicely, good transition. Secure Kachev, and she's moving at a nice pace here. Managed to keep that pack salto working. That's a nicely executed Jaeger. Oh, it's a lovely dismount as well. What very fine work indeed from the 15-year-old from Angers. Well, she was the bronze medalist in the uneven bars at the Junior European Championships in Glasgow last year. So she's used to performing in front of a massive crowd. There were about 6,000 attended the junior portion of those European Championships. And that was a stylish display.
Into that flank back straddle over the top, keeping momentum going, hitting those handstands. They have to be within 5 degrees to count.
Anytime a gymnast starts to make their way into senior competition, obviously it requires reconstruction of routines, different requirements from junior to senior competition.
Difficult dismount.
So you have these junior gymnasts who are preparing to make the move up to seniors, developing new routines whilst refining what's left of their junior routines. That's something we often forget about gymnasts. They're not just dealing in 4 different routines, they're dealing in new routines that are going to come in at some point.
And the score is in.
Very good score for Hedouy, 13.9. So Caroline Hedouy currently leading the competition. It is Hedouy on 27.266, Kajita 24.799. So, Liu Jiayu from the People's Republic of China. Those of you who are watching the individual apparatus World Cups will be most aware of the fact there are some super competitors out there on the uneven bars for the People's Republic of China. Oh. Well, she's up quick as a flash. And that just shows you, doesn't it, how tough a gymnast is. Barely a breath, and she's back on her feet. Did so well at the Chinese individual championships in September. She was second in the all-around competition there. Oh, it's just not happening today, unfortunately. But that is what happens. Sometimes it is just like that. And I think the crowd know that as well, and they're treating her with the right degree of warmth. You can do nothing but admire the remarkable resolve and tenacity of an athlete who has that kind of impact twice, just gets back up and goes, okay, I'll do it again. Super form in the apex of the bars, and she dismounts well. And she deserves that big round of applause from the crowd here in the Resorts World Arena. Well, they always say that the Birmingham fans are highly knowledgeable, and I think that is evidence of it.
But how brave to get back on. Those falls can really
Barely a reaction after these 2 moments. Barely a reaction.
Yeah, and a piece like bars, it's a lot of it's about finding your rhythm.
And don't be fooled for a minute into thinking, oh, because there's a mat there, it doesn't really hurt.
So she did a great job with the rest. And again, controlling those nerves at the start
As I
not always easy.
and want to say, it does us all the world of good every now and then just to remember how difficult this is. And actually she did well to hold that dismount, considering that the foot came down right on the edge actually of one of the two mats. Nothing much for a coach to say at a time like this. It was what it was, and she knows she'll be the first to be critical of herself, doubtless. That's what gymnasts are like. They are absolutely determined to deliver the very finest work. So we are still awaiting the score of Lu Jieyu, Chinese gymnast. It is an entirely different piece of apparatus from all of the others. As any coach will tell you, the emphasis is on work with the arms, which is so very different from what gymnasts do when they're doing tumbling sequences on the floor or when they're working on the balance beam. The focus is so skewed towards the arm work. And it's really interesting if you ever get the chance to go along to junior competitions to watch young gymnasts. Maybe you're out there, you're a parent of a young gymnast. You'll see it's fascinating how the uneven bars evolves over the various stages of a gymnast's life and the different kinds of dismounts they put in order for things not to be too difficult. The training work and competitive work they do on a single bar before looking at transitions. Very careful are gymnastics coaches, as indeed are gymnastics judges, making sure they've got these numbers absolutely right. It's an all-around competition. Every single tenth could count. 9.933 is the score for Lu Jieyu. And unfortunately, that is going to hit pretty hard any meaningful assault that she can make on a podium position.
Next to score, representing Russian Federation, Alia Mustafina.
Many people have come along for this moment to watch Alia Mustafina competing on the uneven bars. Double Olympic champion on this piece of apparatus. Secure beginning. Lovely back salto, and there, swiftly transitioning. No issues at all in the Jaeger. Stable pirouettes. Hits the dismount. Oh, it's great to see. Just a hint there of a breathing out, of a I've got through it. How wonderful. So very recently, Alia Mustafina, as I'm sure many of you know, became a parent, and she's worked remarkably assiduously on rehabilitation to competitive form to get herself ready and fit to shake off any of those old injuries and get back to competing. And she's been subjected from time to time to some daft comments from people about coming back to competition, and she made a wonderful retort. She said, when you become a mother, your life doesn't end. If there's a thing that you can do that gives you pleasure, you do it. Well, I think we all take pleasure, A, from comments like that, and B, from performances like that.
Мне на 100% помог вообще.
routine. And another race score for 14.366,
You can see the coaches are just adjusting the tensions of the bars. Again, some gymnasts like the chalk and the water, but some gymnasts like the bars to be really solid, and some of them like the bounce a little bit more.
Next up for Germany will be Leah Grieger.
So there's the toe on and off with a full turn straight into the shap. Another linked element and another one, and straight up to the high bar, building up her difficulty. There's the in-bar stolder. And a big high release and catch with the Jaeger. Changes her hands to be able to do the forward giant to ensure she's got that requirement. And there's the double front. A great routine. Not as obviously as much difficulty as what we've seen from Mustafina, but a solid performance.
Yeah, it's a well-constructed routine. Again, not too many empty elements. A little bit off the handstand positions, all these pirouettes, and that shoot down are meant to finish in handstand. You can see she's just a little bit past, but not so far past that she can't work into the next element. There we go. Good high front somersault. That's the Jaeger somersault. Just a little bit bent legs when she straddles them, which she does into handstand, but a very nice routine.
Yeah, quite a nice punchy routine that, I thought, and a nice way just to finish off this section of gymnasts. She's happy with that. And over the years, Germany's produced some pretty decent bar workers as well.
Oh yeah, quite well-renowned bar workers. It's one of their big pieces. It's interesting because different nations have different apparatus that they excel on, and certainly Germany have always been strong on the uneven bars.
Well, that should score relatively well. I don't think it will push Mustafina, which obviously was in a class of its own, but good routine nevertheless. And we're waiting for the score. The other four gymnasts will be warming up on the bars. In that group you can see, there's Great Britain's Ellie Downey. Preparing the bars. This competition will be a big test for Ellie, actually, won't it? Having competed last weekend, she's been out for a while through injury. There's a score, Leah Grieger, 12.566.
And so at the halfway stage on the uneven bars, Alia Mustafina is in the lead from Caroline Heduit. Leah Grieger third, Nagi Kajita fourth, and Liu Xiaoyu with that very unfortunate bar routine in the fifth spot.
So there we go, the order for the next four gymnasts. First up from Canada will be Victoria Wu. Then we'll have Ellie Downey for Great Britain, Ty Fidelis of Brazil, and last up will be Riley McCusker of the USA, who'll no doubt want to improve significantly from bad landing on the vault.
So this is still the warm-up. The gymnasts are allowed 50 seconds each to warm up on the bars, actually, because the tension does have to be changed, and everybody likes to spray or put chalk on, make it a little bit different.
There you can see the current leader, Alia Mustafina. Must be very pleased with the way the competition's gone so far, but big apparatus ahead, she'll be obviously having thoughts about last weekend and falling off the beam, and she'll want to really make amends for that.
I think when you've been out of competition, beam is probably the hardest piece mentally to get back. Wouldn't you say that, Beth?
Yeah, you need competition experience, and you can only get that by being in competitions. You can do all of the control comps that you want in the gym, but that replication of those nerves of putting your arm up in front of that judge, having the whole arena just staring at you, you can't replicate that until you're in competition.
So you have to be prepared to have a few unsuccessful events to get back on the mark, really, don't you?
Yeah, so it was great, obviously, to see her back competing, though, because she had a tough year last year, and it's always hard to sit and watch all of your teammates competing, and all you can do is your rehab. And so it's great to see her back out there competing this weekend and last weekend.
And she's done well actually on beam. If you look in the past, she's medalled, she's been world champion on that piece of apparatus. So I suppose with the success, and you'll know this as more than anybody, Beth, is the pressure being successful on a piece of apparatus. People just expect you to be good at it.
Yeah, and it just takes time. If you've had time out, it just takes you a bit more time to get back into it.
Well, we'll be waiting for your return to gymnastics after you've had your baby. We'll give you 18 months and we'll see how you get on.
You're so generous, Craig. Thanks for that.
Well, I know you're a bit impatient, so probably 12. Now we can see Victoria Wu from Canada preparing herself. Canada's another country that's really come up through the ranks over the past few years.
Yes, they've had a very successful 2018. Victoria Wu, age 21, back in the national team, and they're from the clear circle, the Shaposhnikova, and the full pirouette from the uprise. Couple of easier elements there into the shoot down and shoot up. So she's changed bars, she's made those requirements. Half turn there. Oh, and she pulled that Jaeger somersault in too close. She was really swinging fast. Had to do a bit of an easy swing half turn to get into the position for a double straight dismount. Lovely dismount, but actually not a great construction of routine there at all. Quite some very exciting work, but some quite strange connections as well, Beth.
Yeah, and it will be heavily deducted. You see here the Jaeger, she caught her feet before she caught with her hands, so she loses for the tap on the bar, but also the leg split. So the construction, like you say, with Christine, is you would put the big release and catch elements at the beginning, but you can see there she was well above the bar. She had plenty of height, but had closed her shoulders to bring her in too close. A lovely double straight dismount to finish the routine off. Sometimes you have fighting routines, and that was definitely one of her fighting routines.
I was just very surprised after the uprise into short clear full. I expected then a big release straight after it, and we had a couple of just toe on off to handstand shoot down. It just, yeah.
I thought the toe on and off might have gone into a Kachev or something, because it certainly had the height off the bar. And I think when she did the stoop half into the forward grip before the Jaeger somersault, it was a little bit late, and then obviously her action's a little bit late, and that's why she hit the feet. And the score, 12.033 for Victoria Wu of Canada, puts her into third position. Hear the roar. Our next competitor on the uneven bars representing Great Britain is Ellie Downey.
So Ellie has changed her routine round for this season. Unfortunately, she's just gone for the toe on and off with the full turn and come off too early for the turn, so unable to complete the full turn. You can see here her feet were just that side of the bar. She will get up and probably repeat the element. There we are, the toe on and off with a full turn. Has to do the extra up start. There's the big shap into the short clear Kachev. A big combination, and here's the new element for this season. The Jaeger somersault. Unfortunately, just didn't quite hold on long enough. I'm sure we'll see in the replay here. You can see the shoulders just drop before she goes into it. And it doesn't look like she has tapped or caught for a moment hang. So the judges will have to make the decision as to whether she gets the value of the element and also the forward grip. Gymnasts, as long as they stay on the floor, their timer doesn't count. So Ellie knows the code well. And remounts. Here's the big Kachev straight into the pack. Just short on that handstand, but a great fight to get that shap half in. And winds up for the dismount. And a big double straight.
Well, those were very costly mistakes for Ellie, because as we were speaking about earlier, there's 4 requirements. You have to have a full pirouette. So having fallen on the full pirouette, she had to go back and do it again. And you have to have a forward element. And because she didn't catch that, she'll have lost the forward element requirement. Each of those is worth 0.5. But that is lovely. The piked Kachev, immediate pack salto down to the low bar. The second half of this routine was great. The shap half and lots of energy into this dismount. You can really see the whip of the bar lifting her up. It was very impressive, that last section. Just needs to be able to nail that first half.
And I guess this is the question I posed earlier is, you know, when you get back into competition, you have a big competition. The British Championships or National Championships is big for any performer. They really want to win that. And then a week later, come out into a big competition like this. And unfortunately, it's just another learning curve for her. And she realised she needs to get back in the gym, get the volume of routines under her belt, and then come back and just be able to hit and nail those routines.
Yeah, I mean, this routine is brand new. It's brand new this season, so it just needs numbers in general. And the good thing is she's still got another few weeks before the European Championships, and all the focus now will be on, you can see there, it just, the heel release wasn't there before she let go, so she didn't come in close enough to be able to re-grasp that bar. But it is a learning curve when you've got new skills in. How do you cope under pressure when you've just seen, obviously, maybe Mustafina's gone through. She's her biggest rival today.
Well, I've been watching her on bars since I've been here, and I've not seen her catch that Jaeger somersault, so that's probably something to do with it. But she scores 10.5 on the uneven bars. It could have been a worse score, and still 2 apparatus to go.
Well, it will certainly focus her mind on what she needs to really push and work on. It's got the potential to be a fantastic routine.
It certainly has. Next up, representing Brazil, will be Tai Vidalis.
Very popular start, this, the transfer from the low to the high bar and then back down again. That's one requirement made already. Then with the half turn, so she's swinging now on the high bar. Good pirouette. There was the excellent Jaeger somersault, the front somersault, and the Kachev. You can see how early she managed to see the bar on that. Swing and turn to get around the right way for the dismount. The full pirouette. Free swing, 2 giants between into a relatively simple double tuck. That looks like a routine still in the building stages. 2 giants before the dismount. That's what we call empty elements. They're not difficult enough to add towards the difficulty, but will get deductions if you have tiny bent legs.
Yeah, so you can see a great start to the routine. 2 transition elements linked together, building up the difficulty. But like Christine said, I think it is a work in progress with the dismount. Here we can see building up into a nice high piked Jaeger, catches at arm's length. That's what the judges are looking for each slight elbow bend. They will be taking those deductions, so both of those release and catch elements were very well executed. The gymnasts have to include their dismount in their top 8 elements, but it doesn't have to be a D element, and that's a big change from the code of points in the new cycle. So whether she's working on a new dismount.
I would think so. The score comes in 12.233 for Ty Fidalis of Brazil. Puts her into 3rd place. There's 1 competitor to go. Mustafina leads. Heduit of France in 2nd and Fidalis of Brazil in 3rd.
And Riley McCusker can do a very good and impressive bar routine.
So our final competitor on this piece of apparatus from the USA, Riley McCusker.
So there's the Stolder with a full turn, linking it straight into the connection to the top bar. Big release and catch with the Katchev. Nice lines in the handstand. There's another big Katchev release element into the low bar, linking all of these elements. There's the Shap with a half turn. Very good leg form on that. Builds up, ready. There's very original dismount. A fantastic routine, especially after the mistake that she started off 1 vault. She'll be pleased to be able to pull that routine out.
Yeah, and she's a very stylish gymnast. Look at the pointed toes, the straight knees. She's one of these gymnasts that really keeps tension through the legs, whatever she's doing. Very, very good handstand line. When we talk about a handstand line, we want to see a straight line from the fingers to the toes, no arching in the back, and locks the legs together for the pirouettes.
That's a big skill as well there from the top bar, swinging back and then into the Katchev. And that was another big one, wasn't it? The Stolder into the Katchev.
That was a super high release and catch, wasn't it? So that she could then move straight away into the pack salto. Unusual dismount, the front away with the half turn into a back out.
And also from the inverted grip, it doesn't give it any more value, but it certainly looks very original. I really like that routine. And she's happy as well. She was obviously heard what I said. Well done, Riley.
Very good to pick herself up. She'd had a long, long wait after vault. She was the first vaulter and made a mistake. So very pleased to deal with the pressure of having to pull herself together for the bars. But we've seen her do this bar routine through in training several times. She's got the numbers under her belt for sure.
She has. It looked very, very comfortable during podium training yesterday, and that's shown with the performance today.
And the score comes in 14.4, puts her into 2nd position.
And that concludes this rotation. So, come on, let's get behind these gymnasts.
There's the current leader, Mustafina, on 28.732.
So there's confirmation. Alia Mustafina is in the lead, over a mark ahead of Riley McCusker. 3rd place to Caroline Heduit. Matthias Fidelis from Brazil in 4th, with Victoria Wu in 5th, Ria Grieser 5th, and then the 3 gymnasts who made mistakes, Ellie Downey in 7th, Nagi Kajita 8th, and Liu Zheyu in 9th position.
And look, can you see that? We have a packed arena for the women's competition here in Birmingham.
That's the highest score on uneven bars. And with a total of 27.5.
The women will now move to the dreaded piece of apparatus in my mind. That's the beam, and that's the order. And the start list is Caroline Hedouet of France, Liu Zheyu of China 2nd, Mustafina up in 3rd, Grisha of Germany up in 4th, Wu from Canada in 5th, Ellie Downey up in 6th place, Fidelis of Brazil in 7th, Makusta of USA going in 8th, and last up on the beam is Kajita of Japan.
And the beam just has such small margins for error. You don't have to be very offline at all to fall. And of course, the judging system means that you have to take quite a lot of risk. The elements that you have to include here is you have to have 2 acrobatic elements linked. You have to have a backflip and a layout somersault, or a free cartwheel and a backflip. You have to take the risk of linking 2 elements, 2 acrobatic elements. You also have to move forwards, and either forwards and sideways. You can't just do everything forwards or everything backwards.
I think what's really noticeable about the experienced gymnasts, and you might agree with me or disagree, Beth, but I think when you get a bit older, you really understand your body and you know what you can do, and you don't waste energy doing things that are pointless. Where you see some of these younger gymnasts, they get up there and do absolutely anything, and you're thinking, just take your time a little bit.
Yeah, and the warm-ups, they will have kind of decided with their coaches, what do I need to do in that 30 seconds? For some of them, they've been sat around for quite a long time. Obviously, if they were first up or second up on bars, it was a good half hour, 40 minutes ago. So they may feel that they need to do a little bit more to get themselves warmed up, especially because the rest of the arena is obviously in pitch black. Once they're up on that podium, they need to make use of the lighting.
Yes, it's not like in some competitions where you can go out the back to the warm-up hall and keep yourself ticking over. There's no possibility of that here.
Absolutely, we need to keep warm. It's really interesting. I've seen what I can only describe as Mustafina wearing a sleeping bag around the arena. It's like pretty much head to toe a sleeping bag, and obviously a coach brings her around and keep her warm. That's really important. Actually, we have a bit of a laugh, but you've really got to keep your body warm.
Yeah, it is actually down on the arena floor. It is a bit chilly down there, so the gymnasts will be keeping warm in between each apparatus, and obviously she's 3rd up, so she doesn't want to do too much to tire herself out before she has to get up and perform. And we are going to see the young French girl first, and her coach that's with her there on the floor used to coach Una Dufresne, who was one of a very successful French gymnast a few years ago, so it's great to see he's got a youngster coming through to the senior ranks.
Well, she was fantastic on the uneven bars, and as I was trying to say earlier, in the Europeans last year, Christine, we sat and watched the French team in the Europeans, and we thought the standard was good enough for the seniors.
Well, she this year will be 16. You have to be 16 in the year of the competition to be a senior, so this will be her 16th year, and it's a very exciting debut for her here.
So off we go. First up on the beam for France is Caroline Hedui.
And she starts with a difficult backflip onto the beam. 8 elements have to be added up to give you your difficulty score. So she'll be using that. And there's her acrobatic series, the free cartwheel and the layout somersault. So she's done 3 difficult acrobatic elements and 2 very nice jumps. Oh! There's extra marks for a series of 3 moves, and she went for the 2 jumps and then a back somersault, but just a little bit edgy. This spin, very popular and difficult. You have to keep your body still, your centre of gravity over that 1 foot. She made the double spin, but she had quite a big wobble on the way. It's easier on beam if you can get a bit of a rhythm, and you can see she's very apprehensive. A move, a stop, a move, a stop. Quite understandable, because this is a very intimidating arena. Nicely performed, the free walkover and then the split into the backflip again, going for some extra points for joining those 3 elements. She's a powerful gymnast. We saw a big dismount yesterday. Are we going to today? Here, the round off, the backflip, the double pike, very well performed, that dismount. Lots and lots of potential, that routine, but she was definitely very edgy at the start.
Yeah, and it is difficult. You're first off on the piece of apparatus. She had a great mount here using the round off with the flick, but just lost her nerve a bit at the beginning. There's a nice acro series, the free cartwheel into the layout. Here's the tuck back where she was just offline, and unfortunately the beam is not very forgiving if you are offline. Here's the double spin, but just let her shoulder go forward. Did very well to save that, but this is a huge dismount for such a young gymnast. The round off flick into the double pike, so definitely a routine for the future. She's got all the content in there and just needs a bit of time to consolidate it.
Well, another gymnast that was called up at the 11th hour to replace Dos Santos into the French team, and you can really see the potential there actually, because the bars was phenomenal. She's got loads of stuff on the beam as well. It's really, she's a dynamic gymnast, probably a bit more confidence. Christine, you talk about it was a little bit stop-start. Well, that would come from experience and practice and performing.
It would, and if you can manage to keep that rhythm, you know, the more you stop and then start again, the more you lose the impetus of the routine. On the floor, you've got the music to keep you going, but on beam, it's quite difficult. You have to make your own rhythm, and when you're nervous, it's very easy to lose that rhythm.
I was going to say, in a bit like riding a bike, you know, you need to keep the momentum, and there's the score, 11.666 for Hedui of France. So with that fall, it'd been a 12.666.
Beam is a hard piece to pick up the scores on as well.
Republic of China, Yu Jiayu.
Next up, onto the beam for China is Liu Jiayu.
Let's see how she can regain her focus after her bars routine. The beautiful mount. Here's the change leg ring, has to release that head. Look for the foot behind her. The acro series, the flick into the tuck back. Goes for another acro. There's the free walkover into the jumps. Nice double spin. Just has to take a couple of steps forward to regain the balance. A lot of gymnasts have started to introduce the split jump with a half turn, but sideways across the beam it is a lot more difficult to jump that way. change leg into the W jump just to make sure she gets her 2 leaps linked together. And then finishes her routine using the round off into the double twist.
Well, she'll have been very happy to put the bars behind her and stay on the beam, but it was a little bit tentative, understandably so. And I'm sure the judges will find some deductions there. This is a beautiful mount. It's very popular, but very impressive. Now this, she takes the head back well. The foot wasn't quite to the height of the head, but it was, and she wasn't quite at splits, but it was a very good try. And this is quite unusual, backflip into tuck back. And it was quite low, she didn't really lift the arms up, but it was secure. And again, the free walkover, you have to immediately join the element to the next move to get given the bonus, but she did very well with the double spin. And punches nice and high, very clean double twist dismount. Not as difficult as many, but clean.
Yeah, and one of the pieces of apparatus that really does show the nerves, you can tell there, it did look a little bit edgy for me, and certainly some of the leaps, the flexibility looked a bit short, didn't really show the split. But obviously if you've had a bit of a disaster on the previous piece of apparatus, you've got to really try and wipe that from your memory and start afresh and really attack a piece of apparatus. But beam is such a difficult piece of apparatus to attack. A great finish there, double twist, plenty of time.
And she'll be a lot happier than she was after bars, but I would be surprised if that score goes very high.
The judges are taking their time to decide what elements to credit. You have 2 judges that decide on the difficulty of the routine, and they can confer on what that difficulty is going to be. And then you've got a panel of execution judges, which are obviously deducting from 10.
And the score comes in for Liu Jieyu of China, 12.2 on the beam. Puts her up into 2nd place. All eyes focus on our current leader as she steps up to the beam for Russia, Aliyah Mustafina.
Composes herself. Mustafina is a beautifully elegant gymnast. Spent years at the ballet bar training all these elements. Good change leg, leap with a half turn, very nice, and good jump to touch the head with the foot. First of her acrobatic elements, the side somersault. Strong on the landing, and now this, the acrobatic series. Backflip, layout, somersault, nicely performed. There were many years when she struggled with that, so it's good to see her perform it. Oh, but the double spin. It is such a difficult skill to be consistent on, and I've seen her perform it well so many times. But it's something you can't really save if it's offline. Nice split leap into the free cartwheel. Well elevated on the free walkover. But she's hesitant and a little bit slow. At her best, Mustafina works with great pace. She's made the 2 jumps there. You have to link 2 jumps, and she hadn't managed that so far, so she put the change leg into the W jump. That was good. Now she's got 10 seconds to get off the beam now, and she's got to compose herself before the big dismount. The dismount has to be linked, and it is the round off double back. Beautifully done, but there was 1 whole mark off for the fall in the middle.
There was, but the rest of the routine, the class and the elegance that she does show. So most of the elements have very little deduction. There's the change leg with a half turn, fully into the splits. And there's another jump showing her flexibility off. You can see her toes are gripping on to ensure she stays on that piece of apparatus. And the acro series, the flick into the layout, just a step back to regain a balance. Now we see it from a different angle. The double spin looked nice right until that last bit, but like Christine said, once that skill's off, it's very difficult to rescue it. And built up to the double tuck, unfortunately she did take longer than the 10 seconds to get off, so she'll have not only that full mark deduction for the fall, but she'll have a time penalty as well.
And I guess that just what you picked up, Christine, actually it was a little bit short on pace in the routine, and obviously if you fall off and then you take your time, then you're going to fall out of the time and pick up another penalty. And the score comes in 11.866 for Mustafina on the beam. Still keeps her in first place.
Looking a little disappointed with that.
Our next competitor on beam, representing Germany, Leah Greiser.
Next up on the beam for Germany is Leah Greiser.
And there's the jump straight into the splits. Very elegant mount, although very difficult to time perfectly. Build straight up for the big acro series. Here it is, the flick into the layout. Unfortunately, just off, so has to take the mark for the fall. Gets straight back onto the beam though. There's the change leg into the change leg half. There's a split leap into a free walkover. The judges will decide whether they felt that that connection was a fluid connection. Free cartwheel, has to just regain her balance. Packing lots into this routine. There's the side for me. They have to show a low element onto the beam, so you can see that she's incorporating it into her dance. Builds up Valdez into the flick, into the 1.5 twist. A relatively simple dismount, but since the code of points changed, don't have to have the D.
But quite unusual, quite nice to see a dismount come off a link. This is a super mount. Gymnasts have to include at least 3 dance moves, and that mount counts as one of your dance moves. Dance move being a leap or a jump or a spin, so you can't only do acrobatics. But you saw then the backflip and layout somersault. She just didn't take enough power out of the flip. You have to sort of use the flip to get you up into the air. But elegant work here. And this is the dismount, the Valdez. Backflip to one leg and 1.5 twist dismount.
Quite a difficult dismount actually from such a slow, with the Valdez in almost standing flick into the 1.5, and quite unusual and nice to see actually. I quite like that.
Nice to see. She did it particularly well because she barely got her foot on actually, the second foot.
Yeah, she was lucky to, obviously done it a few times, knew how to still get that 1.5 twist round. She looks quite pleased considering she had the mistake early on in the routine.
And the score comes in for Leah Greiser of Germany, 11.3.
Well, this really is becoming a battle of the nerves, and and stability.
Well, 4 routines, and we've had 3 falls from the operators so far. So yeah, it does pile the pressure on the rest of the gymnasts. And our next competitor for Canada will be Victoria Wu.
And we see again the popular backflip mount. As Beth said earlier, the gymnasts have to do some work low to the beam, so it's quite a good idea to start low to the beam and get that requirement out of the way. Here, this series, good, powerful backflip. You could see she had plenty of flight to take into the layout somersault. An elegant gymnast. Now that was well joined, the free walkover into the split jump. Double spin, particular technique there of turning back on herself. Good, strong side somersault. So we've seen forwards, sideways, backward elements. Now we've got another difficult jump coming up. Split with the half turn. So she will have done her difficult acrobatic elements. Here comes the leap series. Changed leg leap into the C-zone. The dismount has to be added into the difficulty score. So she'll want a big, strong dismount. 2.5 twist. Very good routine there from Victoria Wu. Elegant, solid. Big improvement on the other routines we've seen.
Yeah, definitely a very classy routine. I'm not sure whether she just ran out of time at the end. They heard the second buzzer, but there's the nice mount she started the routine with. Builds up for her connection of the acro. Uses the popular flick layout, but no problems with that whatsoever. Now we can see the free walkover into the jump, getting a connection. A very good, solid routine from this gymnast. There's the change leg. Didn't quite have the leg bend after the change leg, so it'll be debatable whether she had the connection. And there's the 2.5. When the gymnasts do get the time, first bell to say they've got 10 seconds to get off, just like Mustafina, some gymnasts will take their time. The coaches would have said, do you know what, just take your time, take the 0.1 deduction rather than taking the full mark if you then rush into your dismount.
Yeah, we've seen so many gymnasts, haven't they, rush to get in time and then they end up falling over, lose a mark. It's better off losing a tenth than a mark. And sometimes, you know, the gymnasts have to really think on the feet up there, and probably a good decision and a good score. 12.6 for Victoria Wu on the beam, pushes her up into 3rd place.
Well, particularly like Mustafina, she was dismounting with a double back. She needed full concentration for that, so she wasn't going to chuck herself about.
So there's the standings. The first 5 gymnasts have competed on the beam. Mustafina leads. Hedoui of France in 2nd. Great beam there by Wu. Puts her up into 3rd spot. Grisia in 4th. And Liu Zhiyu of China in 5th.
You can see the gymnasts having their 30 seconds warm-up. And this is the order we're going to see them in next. We're going to see Ellie Downey as the first person on the beam, then Teus Fidelis, followed by Riley McCusker and Nagi Kajita bringing up the final position.
I think this will be a real test for Ellie, actually, after the disappointment on the bars. And it's a real test of any character in any sport. If you have a bit of a disappointment, how well can you build yourself back up? What we've seen from the American, she had a pretty poor vault, but then she came back really strong on bars, and that's what we really need to see from Ellie now when she attacks this piece of apparatus. You know, and it is such a difficult piece of, you know, we've seen Mustafina fall. We've had 3 falls in the first group on there, so it'll be a real test.
And for Ellie, she's a big, powerful gymnast. Floor and vault are her real powerful pieces, and she's had to work very, very hard on beam. You know, when you're very tiny and your feet are very tiny, the beam seems relatively wide. The bigger you are, the smaller the beam seems. And for Becky, she's really had to work very hard to become an accomplished beam worker, which she most certainly is.
And we can hear the crowd in the background getting ready for their home favourite.
And I just caught over the top of the monitor, she fell off this first move in the warm-up, so hopefully she's put that behind her.
Representing Great Britain is
Fingers
Ellie
crossed.
Downey.
Next up, onto the beam for Great Britain is Ellie Downey.
She takes a deep breath, builds her composure. There's the change leg. Puts her first acro element in, the free cartwheel. Safely through that first couple of elements. There's the change leg. Great height and amplitude in those first leaps. Here's the front somersault, just off to the side. She'll take her time to regain her composure and jump back up. Builds up for the double spin. And there it is. Manages to save that. Here she goes for the flick into the layout. Very solid combination. Shows the down part to the routine. You can see she's trying to build up for the dismount. There's the 2.5 twist. Just landed a little bit short on that, but had to take the steps to regain her balance.
That was a real shame for Ellie because she started with great rhythm. She really did go for that mount, lovely split on the mount. And then once she got going with good speed. She didn't hang about, she worked with style and with confidence, and this is usually a good element for her, the front somersault. She was very surprised. If there was something she was going to fall off on, that wasn't what she expected to be the problem. But this foot was completely off at this side, you could see. So really cross with herself, but she got back on and nailed the rest. Lovely backflip and layout somersault. Good double spin, she had to fight for that. But she certainly did. Choreography was really good. And here the dismount. She usually lands this very easily, but that was quite a big knee bend. But do you know, a lot of that routine was lovely.
Yeah, it certainly was. You can see the potential, actually, and this is a gymnast getting back to form. I think that's the thing we can take from this is, you know, she had a great competition last weekend, winning the British Championships, and she just needs to get these competitions under her belt to get fitter for the Europeans, Worlds, and Tokyo. That, unfortunately, this is the sport, and she's just going to have to get back to the gym and bang out a few more routines. But yeah, it started well, that routine, actually. Just a shame, like you say, it fell off on the front somersault. Score comes in, 11.5 for Ellie Downey, puts her into 5th position.
And our next competitor on beam, representing Brazil, Thais Vidalis.
Next up on the beam for Brazil is Thais Vidalis.
Gymnasts don't have to have a difficult mount. They can just get on the beam quite quietly. But this is good movements over harshes. Fast moving. Oh, and 2 very good layout somersaults, lifting the level of the routine. Going for 2 ambitious leaps, tiny bit off the full split, but the join was very good, as is the free walkover into the split jump, into the flip. But I think that's a little wishful. I don't think the foot was as high as the head on that. And that's where the judges have to make a judgment. Nice free cartwheel. Solid on the front somersault. But if it's a little bit low, the judges take quite a few marks off. But this has been a sparkly routine. Good, strong double pike dismount. Well, that was a very experienced performance.
It was, and she's had a very long wait to be able to get up and do that routine, and that's probably the most confident routine we've seen during this competition, and I'm sure the score will reflect that. Here you can see a great somersault series at the beginning, the flick into the layout. So not only building the difficulty, but the series bonus as well. We can see it there. Lovely straight legs and not a flicker on the landing. There's the split leap with the leg bend. Judges will have to debate whether to credit that skill. Nice free cartwheel. And then the big double pike and just a small hop, but definitely the best routine we've seen so far.
Well, yes, Brazil are a strong team on beam, actually.
I'm going to say the best beam routine we've seen so far has been 12.6 from Victoria Wu of Canada. And you're right there, Beth. The score comes in 12.933 for Thais Vidalis of Brazil. Puts her into 3rd spot.
And our next competitor, representing the United States of America, Riley McCusker.
Next up on the beam for the US of A is Riley McCusker.
Beautifully extended gymnast, very supple. Look at the heel off the beam there. 1, 2, 3. It had a little wobble along the way, but confident enough to do a double after it. So gymnasts can do that. They can get an E for the triple and a D for the double spin. Good split. Now here's the acrobatics layout. Oh, and that surprised me a great deal. She looked very confident, very well rehearsed. Beautiful extension through the whole of the body. Hits the splits very easily on those leaps, but she's quite rattled. Didn't place the foot properly at the end of that change leg half. Much better with those 3 elements in a row. Free cartwheel, split jump, tuck back. A little bit of sideways dance that has to be included. expressing her work well, use of head as well as arms. Here we come, 1 flip, 2, double tuck, a good strong dismount, but very unusual error for an American gymnast in the middle of that beam routine.
Certainly was, Christine, actually, because up until then she looked like she was so in control. Just look at the flexibility there, and you can see the extension when she's going to split. The extension there, heel comes off the beam, and did really well actually on this triple spin. About two turns round, Christine, she looked like she was going to fall off and then pulled it back. I mean, just superb control. And again, the double. Look at the extension in the legs. There's a free walkover. That's superb leg definition as well. Just look at the muscle there, Christine, such a powerful gymnast. There you go, flick, layout, just off to one side with the shoulders, and it's a bit like what we saw on the spin earlier. If your shoulders aren't just directly over your feet, over that beam, you're off. And then the gymnast has to get back on and compose themselves. Flick to 1, flick to 2, into the double back dismount.
There was plenty of difficulty in that routine. Had she managed to stay on, it would have been a big score. But 1 whole mark off, and then she got a little jittery after that.
Well, I think she's just shrugging it off as just one of those days. Beam's one of those pieces of apparatus in it, Christine, where you can be so brilliant in training, and the nerves can easily get the better. I mean, we've had 5 falls out of the 8 gymnasts so far, so it is really such a difficult piece of apparatus. And the score comes in 12.166 for McCusker of the United States. Good score, even with a fall.
Well, it was a classy routine. Every element she performed, she did very well with.
Well, that score pushes her up into 2nd place, and now we have our final competitor on this piece of apparatus. On the beam for Japan is Nagi Kajita.
And no sooner on than off. I'd always feel the very difficult mounts are quite risky, but I've seen her warm that up excellently today already. The free walkover, but then a little pause before the 2 jumps. She would have been hoping to join those 2. The good acrobatic element. She had a little fight, but she saved it. The backflip and layout somersault. Another big leap with the head back. And the spin with the leg up. There's extra points given for all these difficult moves, and these gymnasts are chasing difficult scores. Like their difficulty score, they're chasing a high score and trying to link lots of elements, but really it's not working tonight, that's for sure. So difficult when you've fallen off the first element to compose yourself, but she's done very well. Now, the 2.5 dismount, step to the side. She gave the judges plenty of opportunity to deduct in that routine.
And the beam takes another victim again. 6 falls in this rotation, unbelievable. There you can see the round off. Back somersault to starter, such a difficult skill. You can see why some gymnasts will opt for quite a simple mount, because, you know, there's no stipulation that you have to do a difficult start. And then obviously once you've had a fall from the apparatus, whichever apparatus is, it does knock you, and certainly she did well there on that flick layout. The acrobatic series just a fight to stay back on the apparatus. And as you said, in various points there, Christine, opportunity for the judge to take deductions as well.
The thing as well, they have marks for what they call mastery, for you looking totally in control, and they won't be awarding many of those, I don't think.
No, absolutely. And it needs to flow a routine as well, with rhythm as well. Interpretation, 11.366 for Nagi Kajita of Japan. Puts her in 8th position. And here we go, with one rotation to go. Mustafina still leads the field above Makuska of the United States, Hedui of France in 3rd, Fidalis of Brazil in 4th, Wu of Canada in 5th, Grisia, Germany 6th, Downey of Great Britain in 7th, Kajita of Japan in 8th, and Zhou of China in 9th.
So Mustafina will wait till the end, and here she is, all wrapped up to keep warm. I think your description of her sleeping bag was pretty apt there, Craig.
You know what? I would love a jacket like that. She's obviously heard about the weather in the UK, but to be fair, I don't think it'd be that warm in Russia at this moment. But that is absolutely fantastic jacket. Love it. And she looks every bit the champion, actually, very calm and relaxed, and knowing that you've had a fall from the apparatus and you're still out in front must make her feel quite relaxed.
Makes her feel very confident indeed, and she knows that she's in the lead at the moment, so she will be the final competitor on the floor. And
there you can see the gymnasts, that's where they congregate. They call it the kiss and cry area. Well, after that beam, I imagine there's not a lot of kissing, and there'll be certainly a lot of crying. And that's where they congregate and then go out. So the first person up on this rule will be Liu Zheyu of China.
Representing Russian Federation is Alia Mustafina.
Interesting, Christine, actually, it was totally pitch black in here, barring the apparatus, and they've actually lifted the house lights a bit.
I think they maybe did that for the gymnasts on the beam. I suspect there would have been complaints after the bars that the gymnasts were finding the lights blinding. So now this is the order the gymnasts will work in on floor. Liu Zhou will go first, followed by Nagi Kajita. Ellie Downey will be 3rd, Leah Grisler 4th, and Victoria Wu 5th. That will be when the second warm-up takes place. So first 5 gymnasts will warm up and compete, and then the last 4, Teas Fidelis, Caroline Hedowit, Riley McCusker, and finishing with Alia Mustafina.
You can see the gymnasts in the first group lining up. So they'll go out and have 3-minute warm-up while the top 4 gymnasts will wait.
And still quite dark for the audience, as you can see. The beam is still the lit area. We haven't had the floor area lit yet.
There's Ellie Downey. What do you think's going through her mind, Christine? I mean, you see her train quite a bit at Lilleshall with the team, and the preparation that's gone into this, and you know, what's she going to be thinking now?
Well, she'll be just hoping, I think, that she can get through and prove herself on floor. I mean, she's had a long time out, and last weekend at the British Championships was the first time she's competed on all apparatus for a long time. And although she did absolutely great, she no doubt used a lot of adrenaline, and it was a tall order to ask to come straight back off that performance to come and work and do it all again this week. She needs more work under her belt, we know that. She's been recovering from injury, and the medical people have been very careful with her comeback. But she'll be pleased to have been able to get through another four-piece competition, because every time she competes, she's a step closer to being really at the peak of her work.
Absolutely, and I don't want to keep going on about it, but if you look at Mustafina last weekend in Germany, she fell off the beam 3 times and fell off the beam. So it's not just, a thing that happens to occasional gymnasts. It happens to the best gymnasts in the world, and this is why I think this World Cup's really important, so that gymnasts getting back from injury or new up-and-coming gymnasts can really experience this and take the lessons back into the gym. So I really hope that she lifts the game onto this last piece of apparatus of floor, because actually this is one of her exceptional pieces of apparatus. She's so powerful and good to watch.
Oh, she is. She's an exceptional vaulter and tumbler. And she'll be wanting to show the world that here. She's third up, so she can afford to have a reasonable warm-up. There's 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes for the gymnast to warm up. Some of them will do all their tumbles, some will just do a couple. She certainly doesn't look massively happy.
I was just going to say there, she's having a conversation with the coach of that opening bit, and this is where they really need to have a serious conversation. I look like, to me, on the beam, she just crunched her ankles a little bit, and I think if she's in any doubt about how she's feeling, then she needs to stop, but only she can make that decision. I know she's tumbled back across the floor. We will wait with bated breath.
That is a beautiful spin.
Well, there she is, wrapped up, the current leader. Alia Mustafina. 39 medals in total, Mustafina at world level. University Games, European Championships, Euro Games, World Championships, Olympic Games.
Our first competitor on the floor, representing the People's Republic of China, Liu Jiayu.
First up on the floor for China is Liu Jiayu.
Super triple twist to start. This is the opportunity for the gymnasts to show their expressive dance. Very nice. 2.5 twist into punch front. So we've had 2 twisting somersaults. She needs a double back somersault. Here it comes. Double tuck. Little low on the landing. In for a fourth tumble. Just a double twist, but very, very clean. Nice, elegant, smooth work. Not the most difficult tumbles, but a very pretty routine.
Well, I'm sure she'll be happy with her finish to that competition. Definitely one of her better routines of the day. Here you can see the round off leg into the triple twist. Very good leg extension there throughout the air, completing the 3 turns. And there's the 2.5 twist immediately into the front somersault.
The routine with tumbling and dance elements, and the socks will just help with the friction on the floor so you can get in all spins.
Always important as well to get the dance and the choreography in.
Working right into the corner of the 12 by 12 metre floor.
And then finally into the double twist as well. You can see there the legs are jammed together throughout the flick. Quite unusual actually, as the gymnasts sometimes have a little bit of a leg split, but very precise with her tumbling. And there you go, same tumbling again in the sideways angle. You could see nailed the double twist dead, no steps needed. And a good way to finish off her competition here in Birmingham.
Difficult to come back from 2 falls on an apparatus, so good, clean performance to finish the competition. But a little bit too late, unfortunately. Shouldn't give the judges too much to think about, Christine. I think it was a pretty straightforward routine.
Yes, they have to set their iron. Remember, it's international judges and every country has slightly different level.
And the score comes in for Liu Jieyu, 12.7 on the floor.
Our next competitor on floor, representing Japan, Nagi Kajita.
So, Nagi Kajita for Japan takes to the floor.
Gymnasts have got to work with the music as well as tumble. That was good. The 1.5 twist connected into the front somersault with a 1.5 twist. Oh, nice on the spin there. Work the floor. Into the 2.5 twist. Not bad on the spin again. The leap series, the gymnast must show as a requirement. Good choreography, needs a strong tumble. Got to be a double somersault, stands up into the double back. Well, that was one of the best performances he's done in this competition. Great way to finish.
It was indeed. It's shame it took for apparatus to see what exactly she's made of and the quality that she brings to this competition. But nonetheless, she got there in the end. Here we can take a little look at the replay. There's the 1.5 twist immediately connected into the 1.5 twist. Just a slight leg split there on the landing. And then into the triple twist, completing the 3 turns all the way around. And then powers up once again. There's the 2.5 twist backwards. Again, just a little leg split as she came out for the landing, but nothing too drastic. then finishing off her routine. There's the double somersault. You can see there the chest just a little low on the landing, so the judges obviously will have spotted that. But good, strong finish to her competition.
Yes, it hasn't been the happiest of days.
Certainly not. And I'm looking at that last tumble actually from the side, and I'm a bit unsure whether it was a double tuck or a double pike, actually, Christine. And if it's supposed to be a pike, then it'd be heavily deducted, I would say.
No, I think it would be a tuck. She's got a really quite unusual round-off action, which doesn't seem to help the flip tremendously. And she really was struggling to get off her hands up into the air for that double tuck at the end.
It's the same sort of arm lift she did in the back somersault on the beam as well. It's almost like she's not using her arms to lift up into the somersault, which is one of the things that you teach kids right from the start. And it obviously works for her.
Well, the judges are certainly taking their time with these floor scores. There's a lot of judgment to be made on the floor, whether the turns got right round, whether the leaps hit 180 degrees. And there we go, 12.833. Floor scores for the women are very tough. If you crack into the 13s, you're doing well.
Our next competitor on the floor, representing Great Britain, Ellie Downey.
Next up on the floor for Great Britain will be Ellie Downey.
Now, a week ago at the British Championship, she wowed us with the most fantastic tumbling. Can she do it again? Let us see. 1.5 twist into the double Arabian. Excellent work. Very expressive routine. Good strong double back in the second tumble. Lovely leaps right round that tourgette. Ellie really sells this routine well. She needs a big final tumble. There it comes, lovely double pike. Well done, Ellie. She picked herself right back up, given a great performance to finish with.
Absolutely, well that was more like it and more like the Ellie that we've seen last week at the British Championships. I think there was a slightly watered down routine compared to the British Championships, but makes sense considering she'd have competed 2 weekends in a row, and obviously the main aim will be the Europeans in just under a month's time. So it makes sense to play safe, but also deliver still a world-class routine. Here's her first tumble, the 1.5 connected into the double Arabian, keeps those feet inbounds, plenty of height and rotation in the double Arabian. Definitely a strong start for her.
Well, I didn't choreograph it, so props to me. No, I'm joking.
And there you are now.
I actually really love this routine. I think it's one of
Into the double tuck. I believe that she's also capable of doing the double twisting double back as well, which is what she competed last week. So we know she's definitely got that in the lockdown. I'm sure will be reintroduced for those European Championships.
I think actually that's a really smart move there from Ellie and the coach. Just looking at her in the warm-up, she had a little conversation with the coach, and actually she could have risked doing that big tumble there, and she's really saved herself actually, because she's not going to push up into the medals, but like you say, Christian, in a couple of weeks it's the European Championships where it's a lot more important.
Well, she'll be very pleased to have walked away happily. 13.033. You really do have to do a tremendous amount of work to get scores on floor, because really that first tumble was huge.
It was so controlled as well. If you think about walking out of one into another sequence, I mean, she was right on the edge of the floor there.
On the floor, representing Germany, Leah Grieser.
So for Germany, Leah Grieser.
Very dramatic start to the routine. Opens well with the double back somersault. Into the 2.5 twist. A little adjustment there on the landing. Good position in the split on the leap. Lovely combination there with the spin. One, two, double spin out. One and a half twist, straight into the straight front with a full. Beautiful there on the leap. Again, that's the leap combination of the requirement. Well, that was such a dramatic performance.
Beautifully dramatic floor routine. It couldn't have been a starker contrast to Ellie Downey's. Ellie's full of power, this full of grace and precision.
Absolutely, I think she definitely had a unique also dismount and mount as well on the beam, so it's obviously been working on how she can make her gymnastics stand out that little bit more, be a bit more creative on her approach to her gymnastics. And then also back it up with the tumbles as well. There's the 2.5 twist, the step forward. That step forward obviously helping to control the landing. And then also her spin as well.
I mean, gymnasts, it's a requirement actually, Christine, that they have to sell the routine to the judges, and that was so expressive, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes, certainly. And, you know, a lot of gymnasts do an awful lot of work on the dance side, and the leaps and the spins do count for an awful lot. We tend to think about the wonderful tumbling, but the dance and the expressive side count for an awful lot as well.
Well, simply beautiful. Interesting what the judges make of that.
It will. Last year we saw a few occasions, particularly one or two of the Dutch gymnasts scoring tremendously highly with fairly simple routines. 12.8, that was a very good score.
If you think it wasn't nowhere near the difficulty of what we've seen, but it's right up there in the 12s.
Representing Canada, Victoria Wu.
So next up for Canada, Victoria Wu.
Well, she was very elegant on the beam, and I'd expect to see a similarly beautiful routine here. Oh, lovely high double straight somersault. A loss of control on the spin though. Good height on the leaps. Cleanly round the triple spin. Front somersault into 2.5 twists. Gymnasts have to include a front somersault in a tumbling pass. Lovely landing on that double pike, super height on the tumble. Well, she's certainly combined very expressive dance work with some fabulous high tumbling.
Indeed, it is very impressive floor routine, lots of powerful tumbling going on there as well, and also some exceptional landings. Obviously gaining that extra little bit of height allows you to spot the floor a little bit easier. An opportunity to catch the landing, minimising those deductions. And there's the first opening tumble, the double straight position. Haven't seen any of those today so far. And there you can see slight miscontrol though on the spin. But that was much better than the triple spin this time. And here's a front summy walkout. Immediately then into the 2.5 twist. Clean in the air, lots of height. And finally, just her final tumbling pass, the double pike. You can see there the legs were absolutely jammed together. Good landing, great way to finish off her routine and competition.
Yeah, well-constructed routine there, I think. With it was a good mix, actually, because it had some of the big tumbles. She was very precise on the big tumbles on the landings, the double layout and the double pike back somersault, and a real mix of the choreography. You can see the good flexibility on the leaps and the combinations. And, you know, a routine like that should get into the high 12s, Christine, do you think?
Oh, yeah, the high 12s, I would think. The hop on the spin will have lost her a little bit, plus the value of the spin. But I thought she might have crept into a 13. We'll see.
And 12.8 for Victoria Wu of Canada. Move over, judges. I'm after your spot. Only kidding.
So the first 5 gymnasts have finished their competition, and this is how they stand at the moment. Victoria Wu leads them with Leah Grieser second, Ellie Downey third, Nagi Kajita fourth, and Liu Jeju bringing up the 5th position. And we see our final 4 gymnasts warming up on the floor. It's likely that the winners will come from this group. Thais Fidelis will start, Caroline Heduit will be second, followed by Riley McCusker, and our final gymnast of the day will be Alia Mustafina.
Yeah, and we talk about coming back to fitness, actually. The floor routine is a piece of apparatus that really does take that muscular endurance to get through, so it's not a foregone conclusion that Mustafina's going to walk away as the champion today. She's still got to put a routine together.
And our next competitor on the floor, representing Brazil, Thais Fidelis.
So Thais Fidelis starts this final subdivision, and she's shown us some excellent work.
One and a half walk out into the double Arabian. Oh, just a little foot out there. That'll be 0.1. Powerful gymnast. Oh, nice second tumble, full twisting double back. Good in the leaps, nice flexibility, extended right through to the toes. Stands up easily into the double tuck. Good in the leap there. And again. Needs a good solid tumble, come on. Stands up into the double pike. Well, that was well spotted. That was a great routine to finish a great competition. Well done.
Well, I said earlier she's shown us pockets of brilliance, and that was one of them.
Indeed, you could really see there that she's got lots in the locker. Same opening tumble as Ellie Downey, the 1.5 walkout into the double raven. Actually thought the double raven stalled a little bit in the air, which perhaps made it a little bit easier to spot the floor, but made me worried for a moment she might sit down. But there's the second tumble, the full twisting double back. Easily round on that second tumble. And I think there's been a little bit of a resurgence from the Brazilian gymnasts as of late. They seem very, very good, very capable of competing now with the world's best, as we've seen at last year's World Championships, and she'll be part of that team. And there's the double tuck, going pretty easily round. No trouble on that one. And then finally into the double pike. Sticks the landing, nothing to take away from the judges on the landing on that one.
Interesting, she's one of the very few gymnasts that's hit 4 routines for 4 routines in this competition. And it just maybe proves that, yet again, consistency is the key.
Well, 13.1, top score of the day. And that doesn't surprise me. It was a very accomplished performance.
13's quite a difficult score to get into on the floor, actually, certainly as has been in this competition. So the next 3 competitors will have to put in good performances if they want to go above her. And next up for France, Caroline Hedouy.
Well, she looked very dynamic on beam. Lovely whip into double back there. Quickly back into another tumble, double pike. Little bounce on landing. And that was a smooth spin. Leg held high. Two and a half punch front, she really powered into that. A little bit of a loss of control on the squat spin. And I'm not sure that that leg was quite high enough. Another big tumble, double twist to finish. She's a very sparkly little gymnast. It just felt a bit disjointed to me, some of that, rather than a complete performance. Again, a bit of a work in progress, it felt.
Yeah, definitely. You could see she had to fight up parts of this routine. There's the whip double back. Extremely difficult, actually, to get your feet in the correct position to set up vertically for the double back. So an impressive opening tumble. And there's the double pike. Lots of power. And to try and control that landing. I believe this was one of them. You could see here just falling out the position. It's hard then to recompose yourself into a second spin. Although that one was a little bit better. And there's the 2.5 immediately into the somersault. Again, A little bit low on the somersault. Almost looked like as she came out of it, she compromised the position slightly. Wasn't able to get the full height that was needed.
I think on the 2.5 there, it looked like, because she's such a zippy gymnast, she over-rotated the 2.5 a little bit, and then that forced her to snatch that front somersault. But I think, Christine, your comment there absolutely sums up this gymnast. She's a work in progress. We can see huge potential there. I mean, the bars were excellent today, but you can see a decent score on the floor. 12.7 puts her up into second place for Caroline Héduit of France.
But you were right, that 13-1 was quite a good score, and the others are going to have to be better to match it.
Our next competitor, representing the United States of America, Riley McCusker.
So Riley McCusker, USA, gives us her final performance of the day.
We know the Americans are renowned for their powerful floor work. Full twisting double back to start, little stutter on the landing. There's the forward pass, nice combination, straight front with a double twist, punch front into a leap. Easily round in the double pike. This gymnast has got beautiful extension in the legs. You can see stretch right through to the toes. Double spin, controlled with ease. Again there, good execution on that leap combination. Must compose herself for this big tumble. Stands up into the double back in the tuck position. Well, that was a measured performance from the young American, just what she needed. And after that fall earlier in the competition, she's really fought back.
She's a beautiful gymnast. Her quality of every move that she does. She has a beautiful shoulder line. She really performs beautifully. Just a few little bounces like that on landings. Almost a little bit too excitable. Double twist into the punch front. Very nice forward series, because as you have to show a forward element. Lovely landing on that one.
The extension I've not seen like this in a gymnast for such a long time. She's almost trained like a ballerina.
Yeah, she is. The feet never flicker, do they? It's been a pleasure to watch her gymnastics. Just seemed a little brittle in some areas.
Yeah. And the score comes in, 13.366 into first place. Second routine on the 13, that was well deserved, Christine.
Yes, it really was a beautiful routine.
Interesting the score would have been if she'd have stood up on a vault.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. Representing the Russian Federation, give it up.
Our final competitor in this women's all-around competition onto the floor. Representing Russia is Aliyah Mustafina.
Another exceptionally beautiful gymnast. With ease, the full twisting double back. and the triple spin. Sky high double tuck. She didn't quite finish that spin. Difficult combination, the 1.5 into the full twist in front. Super extension up on her toes. Has she left herself enough in the locker for this final tumble? Here we go. Just about. Wow, what a performance and what a treat to see Ali Mustafina on her way back. She's going to be a force in gymnastics for the next year or so.
Well, that was a real competition and so nice to see. I'm sure her daughter will be watching back home, probably not really sure what's going on, but be incredibly proud. I mean, that was just a real performance, not just on the floor, but all the apparatus. Full twisting double back to start, little bit of a leg separation there, but she really had to work at this routine.
Yes, but where sometimes in the past she's looked a bit disgruntled, she's really looked as if she's back because she wants to be, and she's determined to reap the rewards of all those years of hard work she's put in.
Absolutely, and all of a sudden, you know, when you become a parent, you become secondary, and I think maybe you can see that in her life, that she realises gymnastics is not the most important thing in her life anymore, and sometimes that just gives you that little bit of confidence, and she certainly looked really confident going through this competition, albeit a fall from the beam. Certainly better than last weekend, and this might just be the first World Cup she's won.
Confident and determined, I'd say. 12.966, but it's enough. It gives her the first place, and that will be a sensation through the world of gymnastics that Mustafina's back.
Silver medalist from USA there, Riley McCusker. And confirmation. First place for Aliyah Mustafina of Russia, silver to the USA Riley McCusker, and the bronze to Tai Fidalis of Brazil. Fourth, Caroline Heruit of France, Victoria Wu of Canada in fifth, Leah Grija of Germany sixth, Ellie Downey wasn't to be today, seventh for Great Britain, Nagi Kajita of Japan in 8th, and Lu Zheyu of China in 9th. So there's our champion, Aliyah Mustafina, removing the strapping. Nice to see her smiling, actually. Well done. Getting herself ready for the podium. And there's the American gymnast, Christine. She's performed quite well, actually, to pick herself up from the vault, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah, you can always be sure that the American gymnasts will fight and keep fighting. I mean, they've got a huge number of gymnasts in their country, and if they want to come through to the top, they've got to be able to battle through disappointments. And, yeah, she's an impressive gymnast. She wasn't right at her peak today, I didn't feel. And for the European gymnasts, they've got the European Championships coming up in 3 weeks. But for the gymnasts from the USA, they're probably not at quite such a peak time at the moment.
And it'd be interesting to see, actually, with the troubles they've had over in the federation and how they're going to build up going forwards, and, you know, a change in the coaching staff, and that will have its effect.
Oh, yes. I mean, I think USA Gymnastics, certainly their women's program, is going to be enormously changed. They want it enormously changed. However successful they were, many people feel that it hasn't been worth the sacrifices that have been made, and so they want it to be changed. And I personally will be surprised if we see USA be so dominant. I think they'll still be at the top of the sport. They've got a fantastic program, and they've got a huge university program for women's gymnastics. So you sort of, whereas in Britain gymnasts get to 15, 16 and the pressure is to pack up gymnastics and to work hard at their schoolwork, get their GCSEs. In the States, the pressure is to work hard at your gym so you can get a scholarship place at the university doing gymnastics. So there's a huge number of gymnasts fighting for those international spots. So I think they'll still be at the top, but it won't. I would be very surprised if they had the dominance they've had for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you there, and really interesting actually. The big surprise for me actually has been from Brazil in this, Tai Fidalis. She came in and she's gone all around the apparatus without any falls, and I think probably one of the, certainly in that top three, because Mustafina fell, Makuska fell, and she didn't.
No, I'm not surprised. Brazil looked very, very strong at the last World Championships. They're always a country that, for us in Great Britain, we're vying with. And we had the beating of them, certainly in Rio. But this last World Championships, they were quite a different force. And they certainly are a country that we know we're going to have to be at our best to be able to beat.
Yeah, well, they were 7th as a team at the World Championships, and we were unfortunately 9th, so it definitely will be a real challenge.
So Mustafina is definitely the star of the show here, and the story of the weekend.
Yeah, started very well actually on vault, didn't she, Christine, there? And I think once you get one performance underway at the start, it really does help build that confidence. And yeah, well, she did look confident today.
On the power pieces, she looks better than ever, really. And bars, she's always had this great natural swing on bars, natural timing. And this routine she's done for a long time. This routine is in her memory bank. She doesn't have to think about what she's doing here. It's second nature, and it looks like it, doesn't it?
I was going to say, yeah, that is almost like an autopilot, and
yeah.
Yes, unfortunate to fall off the beam, but if you think about building blocks forward, last weekend she fell from the beam 3 times. This is a big improvement in a week with 1 fall, and she has got credentials on this piece of apparatus, world medals, Olympic medals on the beam. So yes, a little bit of a mistake on the beam, but big improvement.
Still a bit of confidence and work to do on the beam. She was a bit hesitant, but she's elegant. You know, she's trained as a gymnast from a very young gymnast. She's ballet trained. She's in the true Russian style, very supple. She hasn't lost any of that, and she hasn't lost any of the elegance.
No, certainly not. Those years of training at the ballet bar is something that they really do work on in Russia, don't they? And you can see it doesn't matter how long out, you've still got that grace and that beauty. If you think back to the likes of Korkina back in 2000, she was a very graceful gymnast on the floor and the beam, and you can definitely see that within their training regime.
Oh yes. Yeah, every Russian gymnast has been taught to look beautiful. They're great gymnasts, all the Russians. They're sometimes a bit inconsistent, the women particularly. But sort of Mustafina's gone through that stage of not being sure whether she wanted to do it and all that. Now she's come back and she's being a gymnast because that's what she loves being. And that came over today very strongly.
I think so, and yet again, she will have to prove a point, because as good as she is, she will find it difficult to break into that Russian team.
Well, they haven't selected her for the Europeans in 3 weeks' time. They did say after her good performance at Stuttgart they might rethink, but as of the moment, the entries, the nominative entries have gone in and her name isn't there.
Yeah, and she was in the team and was 5th in the bars in the World Championships in 2018. Obviously that's her piece of apparatus, and actually looking at it today, if you fast forward that routine with that style to 2020 in Tokyo and actually add the difficulty that we know she could potentially do, she's a real contender on that piece of apparatus.
Oh, on the bars, yes, she is still. And I think, you know, she'll get fitter and stronger. She'll be a contender come 2020.
See, even the coach is posing for a photograph.
Yes, and we're just getting ready for the medal ceremony. We've had a great band playing all day today for the men's competition and the women's, and they've just done us a Queen medley, which had the whole audience buzzing. We just wait for the podium to be set up for the medals.
Please join me in welcoming our presentation party into the arena.
So we'll welcome the presentation party into the arena. Led out by the Director of British Gymnastics, Martin Redding.
Assisting with our presentations, please join me in welcoming, presenting the gold medal, Yelena Davidova, member of the FIG Women's Technical Committee. Presenting the silver medal, Martin Redding, Executive Director of Sport at British Gymnastics and FIG Executive Committee member. And presenting the bronze medal, Gary Peel, Events Commissioning Manager at Birmingham City Council.
So that's our presentation party, and Elena Davidova in the middle was, of course, the Olympic champion in 1980. So a great coach these days in Canada.
And there you have it, the winner of your bronze medal representing Brazil is Tai Fidalis.
In second place, and winner of the silver medal, representing the United States of America, Riley McCusker.
And the winner of the silver medal representing the United States of America, Riley McCusker.
And in first place, winner of the gold medal, representing Russian Federation, the 2019 Birmingham World Cup champion is...
And the winner of the 2019 World Cup here in Birmingham, representing Russia, is Alia Mustafina.
The 2019 Birmingham World Cup champion, Alia Mustafina.
And there you have it, your medal winners here from Birmingham. Gold to Mustafina from Russia, silver McCusker to USA, and the bronze Fidalis of Brazil.
So from Craig and I and all the team here, we hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this day of World Cup gymnastics. Russia dominant in men's and women's today, but it's been a fantastic event and a great start to the international season.
appreciation as our presentation party leave the arena.